These are precisely the four elements of nonviolent communication, the four major steps. Now let's dive into the specifics. First step, mindful observation. We objectively state what we observe without making judgments or evaluations. How do we observe? By using our eyes to see, ears to listen, and mind to think, clearly articulating specific behaviors. Because introducing evaluations, judgments, or justifications might trigger others' defensiveness. We advocate making observations within specific time frames and contexts. What should we distinguish? Are you observing facts or opinions? Let me share a poem by Ruth Biebermeyer that illustrates the difference between observation and evaluation. I've never seen a lazy person. I've seen someone who naps in the afternoon and stays indoors on rainy days, but that doesn't make them lazy. Before calling me crazy, consider, is he lazy, or do we label his behavior as lazy? I've never seen a stupid child. I've seen a child who sometimes does things I don't understand or follow my instructions. But they're not stupid before calling them foolish. Ask, are they stupid? Or do they understand things differently? Some call people lazy. Others say they're non-competitive. Some label people stupid. Others say they learn differently. Thus I conclude, separating facts from opinions resolves confusion. Dr. Rosenberg gained deep insight while consulting at an elementary school. Teachers and principals reported communication difficulties. The district superintendent asked Dr. Rosenberg to mediate. He first met with teachers, then included the principal. He began by asking, "What specific behaviors does the principal exhibit that concern you?" "He's a blabbermouth," someone immediately responded. Dr. Rosenberg sought concrete behaviors, while blabbermouth was an evaluation. A second teacher added, "I get it. The principal talks too much." Still an evaluation of quantity. Then a third teacher said, "He believes only his words have value." I explained that speculating others' thoughts isn't the same as observing behaviors. Finally, the fourth teacher shared, "He expects everyone to constantly listen to him." When I pointed out this was also conjecture, two teachers exclaimed, "Your questions are so hard to answer." They then focused on distinguishing observations from evaluations, listing the principal's specific behaviors. For example, during faculty meetings, the principal shares childhood, wartime stories, sometimes extending meetings by 20 minutes. When asked if they'd addressed this with him, they said they tried, but never mentioned specific behaviors like his storytelling. They finally agreed to point out these specific behaviors when discussing with the principal. So what speech patterns obscure facts with opinions? I've identified four categories. First, baseless assertions, like Mickey, is reckless with money opinion. Whereas Mickey spent $1,000 on books last week is factual. Second, overgeneralizations using absolutes like always or never. Third, presenting guesses as truth. If you eat unbalanced meals, your health will suffer, is prediction. Better phrasing. If your diet stays unbalanced, I worry about your health. Fourth, presenting opinions as facts. Sophie is ugly, is opinion. Sophie doesn't appeal to me, states fact. Exaggerated statements may trigger resistance rather than constructive responses. Thus, observation without evaluation represents the pinnacle of human wisdom. Moving beyond observation, let's discuss. Second step, expressing feelings. Feelings aren't right, wrong. Simply state them authentically. I feel angry, happy, sad. At a workshop, a wife told her husband, I feel married to a wall. The husband literally acted like a wall, sitting motionless. Furious, the wife yelled, See, he just sits there silent. Living with him is like talking to a wall. Dr. Rosenberg then asked, Are you feeling lonely? Do you wish your husband would be more considerate? After his agreement, Rosenberg explained, phrases like, I feel married to a wall, make it hard for your husband to recognize your needs. When people feel accused, they're likely to feel hurt and withdraw, creating greater distance in the relationship. If he feels sad or frustrated, yet remains unresponsive to the wife, he literally becomes that wall. Words that sound like feelings often aren't actually feelings. For example, I feel ignored expresses judgment rather than genuine emotion. If you actually desire solitude, wouldn't being ignored feel pleasant? Conversely, exclusion becomes painful when seeking engagement. Happiness and sadness, these are true feelings. What communication patterns disregard our feelings? First category, moral judgment. Evaluating people against personal moral standards. Labeling others as immoral or evil when they don't share our values. Statements like you're so selfish represent this judgment. Criticism, blame, insults, all forms of judgment. Second category, comparisons, another form of judgment. Suffering grows from constant comparison. Want misery? Compare yourself to others relentlessly. Whether comparing bodies or achievements, it breeds unhappiness. Third category, avoiding responsibility. Frequent use of have to, like it or not, some things you have to do. This phrasing diminishes personal agency. How should we rephrase it? I choose to. I want to. I do this because I value. Example, I have to drive my kids to school. What's the reality behind have to? While we could walk to the local school, driving them aligns with my educational values. It's a conscious choice, not an obligation. Fourth category, coercive demands. Many confuse requests with commands. Commands stem from hierarchical, authoritarian systems fundamentally different from requests. Whether moral judgments, comparisons, responsibility, avoidance, or coercion, these communication patterns disregard others' feelings. Now let's discuss step 3, identifying needs. Why do we feel certain emotions? What unmet needs or values drive these feelings? Feelings connect to unmet needs. Our emotional state reflects need fulfillment. Met needs bring joy, excitement. Unmet needs create distress, frustration, fear, dejection. Use I feel because I value to express core needs. What fundamental needs do humans have? Physical sustenance, recreation, emotional connection, harmony. Mental, learning, growth, spiritual, purpose, Aspiration. Personal growth typically involves three stages: emotional slavery, obnoxiousness, and emotional liberation. Emotional slavery stage: self-sacrificing, prostrate, lose-win mentality. Obnoxious stage: self-centered, standing tall, win-lose approach. Liberation stage: mutual benefit, win-win solutions. Many hint at needs indirectly, while others express complaints, hoping others will guess their needs. Clearly stating needs dramatically increases positive response likelihood. Thus, we should create win-win scenarios as life masters. Finally, step 4, making requests. Use concrete language. Specify needed actions clearly. Avoid abstraction or making others guess. Requests differ from commands. They specify concrete actions to meet needs, not orders. Example: I want you to respect my privacy. Is this a concrete request? Actually, no better phrasing. Could you knock before entering my office? How to make clear requests. The vaguer the response, the more specificity we require. Personal example. During a Lake Taihu vacation, my son wanted buffet dinner. The 168 Chinese yuan price wasn't prohibitive, but I dislike buffets' excess-promoting nature. I believe buffets encourage greed and harm health. We reached impasse until I asked, "Why do you want buffet?" "Dad, I want the grilled meat there." Suddenly, everything simplified. We chose Korean BBQ for 128 Chinese yuan, everyone's needs met happily. Summary. Use 4 steps. Observation. Feeling, need, request. For authentic expression. This constitutes nonviolent communication's crucial aspect. Third part. How to listen compassionately in NVC. Communication requires both expression and understanding through listening. Readers of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People recall, think win-win. Win-win thinkers have 3 traits: integrity, maturity, and abundance mentality. Maturity means courage to express oneself, plus consideration for others. It emphasizes mutual benefit and abundant thinking. If your goal is becoming a mature, nonviolent communicator, Parts 2, self-expression, and 3, listening, we've discussed today, become interconnected. Regarding listening, psychology's foundation lies in empathy, which is exactly what this listening section addresses. When facing aggressive accusations, guide the speaker through expressing observations, feelings, needs, and requests. Empathy means understanding by imagining yourself in other circumstances, walking in their shoes. It requires genuinely feeling others' experiences through perspective taking. Effective empathetic listening involves 4 techniques: paraphrasing, clarifying, summarizing, confirming. Use phrases like, "From what I observe, you feel so, your perspective is." I hear you say, "Your current feeling is." Focus on understanding, not responding. Listen for both content and emotion. True understanding requires the speaker's recognition. If they feel misunderstood, refrain from premature responses. What exactly should we listen for? Focus on NVC's 4 components: observations, feelings, needs, requests. Should listeners provide feedback? Essential after full expression. Never interrupt prematurely. How to know if someone has fully expressed themselves. 2 indicators. 1 conversation atmosphere lightens, 2 speaker naturally stops talking. When uncertain, ask, is there more you'd like to share? What about interrupting? Interruptions are permissible when speakers struggle to articulate feelings, needs. Gently remind, let's clarify what you're feeling and needing right now. Or if the atmosphere feels oppressive, you may express your wishes. When others face adversity, we often rush to advise. Comfort, true listening, requires suspending our judgments to fully receive them. Many struggle with active listening, frequently interrupting, like saying, "This reminds me of inserting personal memories," or asking, "When did this start?" derailing the narrative. Comparisons like, "This is nothing, listen to my experience," shift focus. Correcting others, "That's not how it happened," creates barriers. This connects to earlier question. Does NVC forbid expressing anger? How to respond when others are angry. First, understand anger's origin. Stems from unmet needs within our thought patterns. Rather than dwell in justified anger, focus on identifying underlying needs. Reframe "I'm angry because they" to "I'm angry because I need," shifting blame to self-awareness. NBC's 4-step anger process. 1. Pause and breathe. Avoid reactive blaming, punishing. 2. Identify anger triggering thoughts. 3. Connect to personal feelings, needs. 4. Express these clearly. Concluding story. How listening prevented violence. A woman working night shift at Toronto Detox Center. At 11 p.m., a man demanded lodging. The man appeared to be under drug influence. She explained. All beds were occupied, offering another center's address, which he threw to the ground. He pinned me down with a knife at my throat, screaming, "Motherfucker, don't lie! There must be beds," she recalled. Miraculously, she maintained focus on his feelings and needs. Most people's fight-or-flight response often escalates violence dangerously. My initial urge was to defend. "We truly have no vacancies," the woman said. Remembering Dr. Rosenberg's advice, never use "but" with angry people. It triggers arguments. She took a deep breath. "You seem furious, wanting proper accommodation." "Even addicts deserve respect. Nobody respects me, not even my parents," he roared. She responded, "Does lack of respect make you feel enraged?" The beginning was terrifying. After several exchanges, she stopped seeing him as a monster. But we deem monsters are humans whose unmet needs we fail to recognize. Focusing on his needs revealed a desperate human being, not a demon. I began, trusting he wouldn't harm me. She continued. He eventually released her, sheathed the knife, and received help finding shelter. Summary: NBC's essence: honest expression without blame, compassionate listening with respect. 4-sentence recap. 1. When I see, hear. That's observation. Second, I feel describing my emotions. Third, because I need value, stating my needs. Fourth, would you be willing to express your request? Finally, let me share Ruth Bebermeyer's poem, Words Are Windows or Walls. Your words make me feel condemned, utterly wronged, and defenseless. Before leaving, I must ask, did you truly mean that? Before I defend myself, before questioning through pain or fear, before building walls with words. Tell me, did I hear you right? Words become windows or walls. They judge us or set us free. When I speak and listen, let love's light shine through me. These words in my heart matter deeply. If words fail my heart, will you help free me? If you think I shame you, believe I don't care. Listen beyond words to our shared feelings. May nonviolent communication truly benefit all readers. I highly recommend studying this book thoroughly. For more questions about NVC and emotional intelligence, message me through New Thinking Community articles. That concludes our discussion. Keynotes are below the audio. See you tomorrow.